Hey everyone, welcome back to Flexitalks, your go-to podcast for IT, digital marketing, and outsourcing. I'm your host, Pamela, together with my co-host.
Bernice, and we are thrilled today to bring you to another amazing insight on IT, which is building a successful career as a .NET developer.
That's right, Bernice. So today we've got another amazing episode, and I'm really excited for it personally.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to today's conversation, especially since we have invited one of Flexisource IT's senior .NET developers. I looked into his background, and I must say he has had an impressive journey in his field.
Yes, so today we've invited Sir Maynard Paye, a seasoned .NET developer from Flexisource IT with years of experience in the IT industry.
Hi, Sir Maynard. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, Pam and Bernice. I'm excited to share my experience as a .NET developer to everyone.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Maynard, for coming into our Flexitalks today. So let's start from the beginning. Sir Maynard, can you tell us more on how you got started working in the IT industry?
Uh, it's a long story, but way back in college, I
Mhm,
remember having this subject that involves programming using
mhm,
C++, Java, and then when I tried coding. No,
mhm,
I immediately fell in love, and then I realized I think this is something I'm gonna pursue someday.
mhm,
So, and then after that experience, we had this uh, programming ICs or microcontrollers where you have robots moving.
Oh,
So yeah, I think that's the start of my journey and my passion into coding and development.
Oh, that's inspiring. Now that we've got a sense of your journey into IT, can you tell us more about your specific experience as a .NET developer? How did you find your way into this particular niche?
I actually started from programming the basic of all everything,
yeah.
programming Hello World.
Mhm,
So I remember I used a console application, and that was Visual Basic,
mhm,
or I mean C Sharp, a decade ago. And I started from console applications, then to web development, and then API development, then learn a lot of new tech that is related to .NET. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Time is so fast.
Since when was that, Sir Maynard?
uh, from 2012. Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm not
Oh,
sure how old are you guys during that time.
so it's been
That's
more than a decade.
2012. Yeah, yeah, more than a decade.
It's a very extensive experience you got there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's really fascinating to hear how your career has evolved from simple hello world programming now become one of probably one of the best .NET developer in the Philippines, let's say.
yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps, but yes, so for those who are just starting out, so anyone who's like interested in .NET development, what kind of educational background or certification would you recommend to them?
I actually did. I mean, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a short study. If you really require a college degree,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to go into IT or especially .NET development, but it turned out it's kind of 50-50.
Oh.
But uh, your degree is helpful, especially if it is related to computer science,
Mm-hmm.
IT, software engineering, like computer engineering. Uh, so yeah, it's helpful, but uh, you can pretty much get a boot camp and get a certificate as long as you have the portfolio to showcase your skills. I believe you can start your career as a .NET developer.
So like you don't need to go through the 4-year course as long as you have the drive for it.
I think so. Yeah, I actually have a lot of friends. They don't have any
Oh,
college degree and yet they're working in the IT.
oh,
So
that's.
so that's why I said 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also I have friends as well. They have college degree and they're also working in the IT, and those guys excel with college degree and without college degree.
And
Yeah,
that's
So,
interesting.
I, yeah,
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
that's actually really helpful advice and hopeful advice for those who want to join and become a .NET developer, no? And with what and once someone has this like educational foundation, whether it's boot camp or the college degree, what other technical skills should they focus on mastering to be successful at the job market itself for .NET development?
I always say you have to master the basics, because if you have no concept of the basic programming principles like object oriented programming,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the solid principles, it will be difficult for you to learn some advanced topics. So I would always say to I mean I'm leading a lot of developers, especially new friends who wanted to start their development career, and I always say that start with the basic. Always start with the foundation, understand the principle, what's the logic behind, and you also have to have a good technical, I mean, a good debugging skills. You cannot learn uh, debugging at school or at boot camp, so you have to expose yourself on a lot of issues and bugs to be able to master that debugging skills.
Experience also.
Yeah.
That is correct, yeah.
So it's just purely experience. Yes, so Sir Maynard, obviously technical skills are important as you've mentioned. What about soft skills like communication or like team building? So how important are these build in building a successful career in IT, particularly in .NET?
They are equally important. So you know what? When we are having a weekly sprint,
Mm-hmm.
uh, communication, collaboration is around 30 to 35% of our estimate. So we
Oh,
always have that collaboration period, collaboration time, uh, meetings, and so on. It is important because you must you should be able to explain
mm-hmm.
technical terms to non-technical guys, especially the business holders. So how would you do that if you're not good in communicating, in understanding, and uh, teamwork is
Mm-hmm.
very important as well. I mean, I have decades of experience, but I'm I cannot know everything. No, I Google sometimes, to be honest. But if you have asked some colleagues, you get a different kind of perspective. You
Yes.
don't have to be shy to ask. You don't have to pretend that you know everything. It's okay to ask, literally. Okay to ask, hey, can you help me on this? So at least you guys are aligned and you are working together. So it makes the task actually a lot faster.
Yes. So just a follow-up question, Sir Maynard. We know that a lot of developers are basically introverts. Yes. They
I
don't.
st- I started as an introvert, to be
Yes. So.
honest. Like from uh first 2 to 3 years of
Mm-hmm.
my career, and especially if we have meetings, I would always say okay or yes.
So
So
how? So yes, Sir Maynard, how did you learn to like speak freely, or how did you learn to communicate your ideas and opinions as a former introvert?
You have to uh, practice, and
Oh,
you
okay.
have to remove that mindset that says if I ask a question, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have that mindset of uh, l- uh, learning through asking questions and not being ashamed if
Mm-hmm.
you do not know anything. So I think it's a matter of mindset and uh, perspective. So yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that
that's
makes
great.
it very clear now that the technical and soft skills are both equally crucial to becoming a .NET developer. But speaking of career progression, what are some typical milestones for a .NET developer? And how can you advance from like the junior roles to a senior role?
Yeah, of course, you will have to start from the junior role. So you will probably be working on your senior peers or
Mm-hmm.
like the mid-level developers. So from junior, you'll be working with uh, simple issues, bug fixing, and if you want to transition to being a mid-level developer, then you have to know full stack. So full
Mm-hmm.
stack is like uh, the whole stack of the application. You have the front end, the back end, the
Yeah.
database, as well as the deployment process. I mean, you do not need to learn everything, but at least you have some general idea on how it works. And you have to also improve your soft skills,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even if you're the most talented guy in coding, yet you do not know how to communicate,
Yeah.
you'll just basically junior or mid-level for the rest of your life. So uh, you also have to uh, at least gain some experiences, and you have to be bold
Mm-hmm.
because you cannot become a mid-level developer unless you'll be given tasks that is relevant to a mid-level developer. So you have to ask your manager, I wanna take on this task. You wanna take on the challenge. Do not be satisfied working on some simple tasks for junior level, but be bold enough to take on the challenge and accept those difficult tasks. So that's how you go to mid-level developer. And then uh, if you wanna go from mid to senior, you have to know some design patterns, architectures. You have to implement uh, proper uh, coding
Mm-hmm.
approaches. I mean, if you're a junior or a mid-level, you at least have the idea of that coding process. But if you're a senior, you have to implement that at all times. And at least you know about AWS, Amazon, some repositories, version controls, and everything. So the advanced level.
Okay, sir. Sir, since we're on the topic of growth, what common mistakes do you see new developers are making, and how do you think they can avoid this?
Oh, that's a good question. Sometimes I am guilty of this number one mistake. For me, the number one mistake is not asking help soon enough. Like, I want to give you a context. Like, for example, a task is worth, let's just say, 10 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and you've spent 5 hours already. So that means if I'm going to look at your performance, I would assume you're 50% done. But during our like stand up and meetings, I would ask you, what's the progress of this task? Then I would say 10%. Wow. So 5 hours and you've done only 10%. I mean, uh, you say it in a nicer way. So that's something is wrong.
Yeah.
So you're probably having some difficulty or like uh, it's hard. The task is so hard. So ask help as soon as possible. If you feel like I'm spending a lot of time on this, ask help immediately because it will create a ripple on the project timeline, on delivering the the whole process. And another mistake is skipping code reviews. So when I started my junior years, we don't have we don't have code reviews.
Mhm.
So we directly, I think that was 2013, 14, we don't have code reviews, and then we directly deploy without someone checking your code.
Mhm.
Will they work or not? And then eventually they don't work, and then you get a lot of bugs. So code review is very important. The last would be unit testing. Very, very important. It it adds extra effort to the development process, but the benefit is that it will ensure that your code works and is maintainable. So I think that's the three things. Not asking soon enough. Second is having no code review and not writing a unit test.
But building on that, Sir Maynard, what are the strategies you recommend for aspiring .NET developers to create a strong portfolio that helps them stand out in the job market?
It will always start with your CV.
Yeah.
Your CV is the first impression. So you have to format it properly. You can actually Google that. There's a lot of good CV template in the internet, so you can follow the format. And then uh, you also have to showcase your personal projects.
Mhm.
So I myself, I have a personal repository. Some are public, some are private. So if the client would ask, "Have you done this?" Yeah, this you can check this one. That principle has been implemented in this project. So that's a plus point for you. So you keep on building a lot of projects during your free time and push that project on your uh, code repository. So
Okay, that
resume
mhm.
and building a good portfolio.
That's great. That's a fantastic advice, Sir Maynard. Okay, so let's move forward to the personal side of your career. Can you share a project that has had a significant impact on your growth as a .NET developer?
Uh, the one that I am working right now. So
Oh.
Ooh,
we are actually working on an application that handles 5 million or close to 6 million users. So
It's a very big
imagine the
project.
risk. Yeah, imagine the risk if your code fails.
Mm.
So that's $1 million in sales. So you have, sometimes I get nervous when I deploy, to be honest.
yeah, I'm getting
Because
nervous now for
that's
you.
6 million, that's 5 million users at stake. So uh it's actually a major leap to my career because I have to consider the performance, the
Mhm.
scalability, uh, and I have to make sure that it has been properly tested,
Mhm.
unit tested, QA. It's like the whole process. So yeah, I think the one that I'm having now greatly impacted my career.
Well, with that, do you think it's also covering the biggest challenges you're facing right now in your career? Like the whole 5 million user thing?
Absolutely, it's an I mean, not an old application, but they have this CMS platform that was built around 2018.
Oh.
So that was 6 years ago. And one of my tasks was to upgrade the the library,
Mm-hmm.
the DLLs on that application. So knowing that was from 2018, so ah, it's it has given me a lot of headache, to be honest, because you have to make sure that the functionality works after upgrading all the code base. Uh, it has given me a lot of patience and a lot of time reading and learning the documentation, because I have to make sure that, okay, you have deprecated this part, so I have to remove you and I have to replace you with the new way of approach. So, and imagine, I think I have around, if I'm not mistaken, 60 libraries to update.
Oh.
So yeah, and I just finished the upgrade yesterday, and it took me around probably 7 days, 8 days to work on that. Yeah,
You've worked on
yeah,
that alone, sir?
alone. Yep,
Wow.
for just for the upgrade, just for the
For the
upgrade.
upgrade.
Yeah, for the upgrade. Yeah. So yeah.
Still, no wonder some are saying, yeah, you are one of the best .NET developers Flexisource has. Definitely.
Yes. Um. So, sir, obviously you've faced a lot of challenges, particularly now, big projects and stuff. So if in your opinion, what would you do differently if you were to start your career today? Instead, like with all of your knowledge and skills that you've gained, and experiences, what would you do differently?
I would watch a lot of videos from experienced .NET professionals, because it
Mm,
will like literally fast track your uh, career.
mm-hmm.
Because on the work that I have right now, you have to have that enterprise level of implementation. So they say uh, you can do it that way, but there is a better way to do it. So you watch a lot of videos, uh, learn from them,
Mm.
and then apply those techniques that they suggested into your personal projects. And then, for sure, probably you'll become a senior developer in 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
just in three
You'll become a
years?
senior in 3 years. There are a lot of good guys, expert guys, like Microsoft developers, certified developers from Google,
Mm.
Amazon, and they teach a lot of good things, especially if you're working on some big projects. Yeah, to be honest, I think you'll become senior in 3 years if you implement those techniques.
Well, that's really cool because it's always insightful to hear about real world experiences, and your advice right now about is very hopeful. 3 years only,
Yeah,
and but it has to give, you have to have the determination and the drive, of course. But it's very hopeful for aspiring net developers. So, Sir Maynard, before we wrap it up, do you have any final advice for these aspiring developers for their career?
uh, always learn the basic. The basic is the most important thing. If you cannot explain what is a class to me, what is a property to me,
Mm-hmm.
you are far away from becoming an expert. So you have to know the basic, and not just the definition, the theory, but when to apply that specific principle in coding. Yep. Learn the basic. You'll never be wrong if you learn the basic.
Okay, that's great. So thank you, Sir Bernard, for coming to Flexi Talks, and we really enjoyed your advices. That's
Thank
it's
you.
really incredibly valuable advice to our listeners.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pam. Thank you, Bernice.
Yes, for sharing your journey, your insights. It's really interesting.
Yes, and to our listeners, don't forget to check out our other previous episodes if you haven't done so already.
And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an update. Don't forget to leave us a review and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues who might find it useful.
So we really appreciate your support, and we're excited to bring more content to you in the future. Thank you, and until
Until
next
next
time.
time.
Thank you again, Sir Maynard.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Bernice.
Sure.